Good morning. Good morning. It's Tuesday morning and we got sunshine this morning, which is nice. It's been a bit dreary. Um, so I thought I'd do a quick little video. I was going to do one yesterday, but I was exhausted. I think I mentioned to you guys that I have arthritis in my back, so the pain has gotten really, really bad. And my doctor put me on gabapentin, but she had me taking it one time. It wouldn't do anything. So then she had me taking it 2 times a day. But I think when I take it at night, I don't really realize how sleepy it makes me because I'm going to bed. But when I take it in the morning, yesterday, I probably literally slept through, oh my gosh, it was just ridiculous. I was literally falling asleep while I'm working. That was crazy. So, I didn't really watch, I don't watch her stuff every day. Sometimes it's pretty depressing. But I happened to check, this one was coming through my feed this morning when I turned on my YouTube, and I'm going to get her out of the way. And then there's something I did here yesterday that I wanted to address. It has nothing to do with her. My summer clothes. Okay, so now she is this is the video, which her stuff is always ass backwards, because she is literally showing a video of her telling Miss Charlene bye, and they've been gone now, what, 2 weeks? So this is her going through her winter stuff to send with Miss Charlene back so that she can store it till next winter. Wow. So now her house is a storage house. So this is my question. What's the deal with the 10x4? I mean, is she renting it? Is she trying to sell it? There's something up with that she hadn't said, because why would you pay for it, decorate it, and then never stay in it? Because she's talking about she won't see Miss Charlene until October, but I think that's a lie. But yeah, she's pulling out all this stuff. Now, this is stuff that she had in a suitcase that she never, half the stuff she hadn't even worn. And then she says that she's not going to buy anything else. She's just going to do with what she has. And what did we see her do after she did this? She went to Macy's and bought several outfits, boots, and tennis shoes. The thing that kills me, I'm just cracking up, is she bought some shorts. Look at this.
Shorts that I had got from Walmart that was on clearance, I think, for $1. Yeah, they were on clearance for $1 with the little tummy thing.
The tummy thing is because they're maternity shorts.
For $1, I went ahead and
who buys maternity shorts? And I think I mentioned this when she got them. Not one pair, but 2 pair of maternity shorts just because they were for $1.
These things out.
Hello? Nobody does that.
And here's a little short.
She just kills me. None of this, she didn't wear half this shit.
Outfit that Miss Charlene had gave me that she had ordered for herself, but they were.
She ain't gonna wear that.
Too short.
That ain't even her style.
Shorts.
Them ain't short enough for Hoochie Mama here.
This Bottega short set.
And I don't know why she called it Bottega, because it's from Temu.
The Bottega purse, I could be carrying that now.
Ma'am, you should just call it a dupe or an outfit. Now look at all this stuff that she got from Temu that she ain't even taken out the bag.
That I had ordered from Temu.
That don't even make no sense, but you constantly shopping. Constantly shopping. She ought to go donate some of all that shit, but then I don't know who would take it because it's probably pretty funky. Yeah, I mean, you buy all this stuff, but then you wear the same 3 outfits for 3 months.
No.
That's just crazy.
I am hungry.
You up at 3 something in the morning talking about you hungry. That's why you got time to email me, because your ass up so early. And she always talk about her van being dirty, but it's always dirty. When she opened the door, it's just like stuff falling out. She has pulled out at least 10 pairs of shorts that she did not wear last year. Why? Because she wears the same stuff over and over again.
I really ordered the whole outfit for the shirt. It's what I like the most. Excuse me.
And yet you didn't wear that. Still got the tag on it.
So I'm about to put this stuff up, and then it should be 5 o'clock soon. I'm gonna call.
And then she don't even have anything to put her stuff in, so she's gonna call Charlene to get garbage bags. I mean, because she has garbage bags, but she don't know where they are. Does she ever know where anything is? Every time she needs something, it's always like, I don't know where it is. I don't know where it is. But you're always cleaning up the van. I bet you sneezing because it's dirty and nasty back there and dusty.
I just pulled out my charger for my Blue Yeti, and I'm about to go in the shed thing and plug it in. We have to check out today at 12 o'clock.
But they're going back home, so they'll be back. They'll be gone before then. At least I would think so. They wouldn't be trying to get on the road that late in the day.
Everything up that I need to charge before I leave here.
You see all my junk in the TV. She look a hot ass mess. Yeah. I doubt if she do anything else exciting, but I was just like, you knew all this time that you wanted Miss Charlene to take stuff back. Why are you up at 3 o'clock in the morning doing this when you've had ample time to do it? But, you know, in her mind, she's always so busy. And she says she works more than the rest of us. But I don't see where she's so busy. A lot of times she's just doing bullshit. I mean, it's not busy. She's just doing busy work. I mean, cleaning the van, which never really gets cleaned. Folding clothes, which never really get folded. She needs to wash clothes, but, you know, she only does that about once a month. But I guess when you wear the same outfits over and over and over again, you can do that. I guess she's like a big ball of contradictions and chaos. Because she'll say, I'm not eating fast food anymore. Then you see her go get 2 pot pies. I'm going to not buy any clothes, but she go buy 2 pairs of tennis shoes, boots, and 3 outfits. I mean, it's just the contradictions for me. And then Houston is huge. There are so many things that you can see in Houston. And my thing is, I don't understand if you're going to call it city, van life, city dwelling. There are so many things to see other than the same 2 parks that she go to. Well, 2 camping parks and the 1 city park that she goes to back and forth all the time. I know Houston got some free places that she can go, but she makes enough money for her to be able to go, or she beg enough for enough money for her to be able to go to a museum or the zoo or any of the things that Houston has to offer other than a damn rodeo that she could go and see and show her subs. Oh my gosh, I couldn't believe the other day she was talking about doing another damn thrift store in Ross trip. How many damn thrift stores can you go into and do a clothing haul? How many Rosses can you go into and do a clothing haul? And why are you doing clothing hauls when you live in a van and you only have X amount of room? I mean, it's just stupid stuff. I'm like, if you don't have any ideals, there is 1,001 van lifers on YouTube now. Look at theirs and see what they do. There's places in Houston that you can go to and let people see the different terrains in Houston. Like maybe they have mountains on one side of town and, you know, kind of dry desert. Like, I don't know. I've never been all the way through. I went to Houston one time and I don't even remember exactly where I was in Houston. You know, or see some of the things that Houston is famous for. Or if you're just going to eat out, pick a place that everybody that comes to Houston always wants to go to and get food from there so your subs can see. There might be some subscribers that live in Texas and never came to Houston, or some that's driving to the Grand Canyon or out west, or people are moving, and if they stop in Houston, these are things that you can see in Houston. There are things that you can see. Should I Google things to do in Houston and tell them to you? And it could make your channel a lot more interesting than what it is. Just some tips. I know you don't like for nobody to tell you what to do. Just some tips. And can you put out another one of your public announcements for your people not to come to other people's channels and leave messages and trying to defend you? I would appreciate it. Thank you. All right. So switching gears. I heard something yesterday that made me wanted to just talk about this briefly, and I don't know how many of the subscribers it might affect, but I am a big proponent in watching out for our children. I mean, I'm very much an advocate for making sure our children are safe, live in a safe environment, making sure they're eating, they're clothed, they're, just all the things that children should be able to have, that we should be taking care of as adults. The welfare of a child. So I was seeing that one of the magazines that I really, really like is People. And so I'll show this since it's pretty. And usually people have like stars information, but then they always have like different real life articles or stories usually. So one of the write-ups was about this family. And see, my children are grown. And even when they were not grown, the one thing they barely got to do was sleep over at somebody's house. My mother wasn't a big proponent of us sleeping over people's houses, and I definitely was not. I think my son slept out twice. And the 2 times when he did sleep out, there wasn't family. He was a preteen and a teenager, or he was like in between preteen and teenager, somewhere like 14, 15. So I say all this because the story was about a 12-year-old who had her girlfriend spending the night at the house. They had a sleepover. And I know I used to love that. Now, my mom would let us have sleepovers, just like with my son. Everybody could come to our house, but I wasn't going to just let him sleep out at anybody's house. And so that's what I did for him. So we could have sleepovers. And oh my gosh, I used to love them. We would be up all night yelling and screaming and, cutting a fool or whatever. So the little girl had, I want to say it might have been 4 or 5 of them that slept over. And so the little girl's father made them smoothies. And the thing that I guess some of the girls might have noticed was that they never mentioned the mother. I don't know where mom was, but the mom was never mentioned. But the dad was very much involved in this sleepover, making sure everything was okay. He made them smoothies with some type of, smoothies with chunks of fruit or something in it or whatever. Anyway, he gives the girls the smoothies, and one of them said that hers didn't taste right, so he remade it. And then he wanted to see if anybody needed more. So one of the girls said that she felt kind of sick or something, but she went ahead and fell asleep. So they all started to fall asleep, which is unusual for 12-year-olds because they don't go to sleep. They get a sleepover. Oh my gosh, you stay up half the night. That's the whole point of a sleepover. It's not really any sleep going on. You're just hanging up giggling with your girlfriends. But one of the little girls, and I know I'm chopping this story up, she was laying there. I don't know if she was trying to go to sleep or, when he came downstairs to look in on them, she was pretending like she was asleep because she said he had came down several times. And this time when he came down to see if they were asleep, it was like he was putting his finger under their nose, I guess, to see if they were still breathing. And you know how you wave your hand in front of somebody's face to see if they can see you, or see if they're awake or whatever. He was doing that, but she just pretended. She was a smart little 12-year-old. She pretended like she was asleep until he left. And when he left, she texted her mom and told her, please come get me. I don't feel safe. This was like 1:45 in the morning. So can you imagine as a parent, you let your daughter go spend the night at one of her girlfriend's house for a sleepover, and then at 1 something in the morning, they text you and say they don't feel safe? Oh my God, I'm sure, I can only imagine what the mom showed up in, because I jumped out the bed as is and in the car and going. And then they probably would have had the cops come because my child telling me she feel unsafe. Oh, there's going to be some hell to pay. So on her way over, she contacted the other parents to let them know that something must have been going on. So when they got there, okay, they did mention the mom one time. Because when they got there, he probably, well, I'll tell you, they were saying, oh, you don't have to take them. They're all asleep. Just wait until in the morning. And the parents was like, no. It's now, by the time they probably got there, it's like 2 something in the morning. Okay? So I done came and got my child at 2 in the morning. That should tell you something. That if I came to get my child at 2 in the morning, something just ain't right here. And if I'm coming that time of the morning, oh, my child coming with me. And so all the parents took their children, but 2 of the girls, they could barely walk. One of them, the dad had to literally carry her. So they took them all to the ER. Come to find out, the dad had drugged them with benzo something peen. Benzo, I'm sure I can never say the drugs right. One would think that I should know how. But even when I took the course in psychotropic drugs, I could never pronounce. Oh my gosh, they make them so hard. I could never pronounce them. So, yeah, he had drugged them. Now, and I can only imagine he would be underneath the jailhouse. Oh, because you going to jail, sir, because you drugged those little girls to do what? And I'm wondering now, since the mom wasn't really around, I'm wondering if he made her a smoothie and put some drugs in it. And then, have you been molesting your own daughter? Because, oh, he was going to have him party time that night. I bet you he drugged everybody in the house so nobody would beat up but him. That is so sick that he drugged these little girls. And this is my point. In this day and age, you can't trust nobody. Nobody. It's almost like you need to keep your child chained to you, attached to your waist. I would be, and I guess, I don't know if it's worse or just more talked about now. Maybe it's just more talked about. But they would probably call, my son said, overprotective. I was. And when he was in stuff, I was over-involved. Like when he did sports and stuff, you don't take no showers. You just come home funky and you shower at home. No, the coach can't take you or pick you up. I'm going to take you, pick you up. Most of the time I was there. Or either my ex-husband, he did a lot of the sports stuff. And I did a lot of the singing, dancing. My son was in a school for the arts, kind of. It was a school for the arts where school he was at. So he was in a lot of the singing, dancing programs and stuff like that. So I would do a lot of that because my ex hated it. And I wasn't too keen on sitting on concrete bleachers and stuff either. But I did go to some. But I was just like, sorry, y'all, I'm just yawning already. Yeah, it's just like you have to keep an eye. So now I have grandkids. And so my son and the mothers get so mad at me because I'm always sending them stuff like, hey, have you seen this? You need to be mindful. Like one of them, my oldest granddaughter, like, I understand that the apartment is the building they stay in is right next to the playground, and you can look out the window. But people do stuff so crazy nowadays. I'm just like, because I didn't let my son go out there and play really by himself. I would sit out there if he was at the playground. And if he was in the front yard, I can look at him out the window, but I don't know. I'm just thinking parents just need to be more mindful. Even at church, they used to get mad at me because I'd be like, hey, why is your little one running around by themselves and nobody's watching them? Especially if we're having a function or, after church, you may be having, sometimes we would do church dinners or people just be milling around talking. Keep an eye on your children, because even though it's church, we don't know everybody that comes to the church. And even some of the people in the church may be pedophiles. You don't know. So my thing is, it just made me think of today. I know if you're a grandparent, our children don't always want to take our parental, parenting advice. But just, suggest, if you see something, say something, as they say. I say this to kids, well, where I live now, there's no children that live by me, but when I used to live in the city part and I seen kids, sometimes I would be watching other folks' kids, just keeping an eye on them because the parents ain't out there. I mean, anything. You see children getting picked up on their way to school, having a fight at the bus stop because grown ass men are trying to put them in their car and stuff like that. This world is scary, and I'm not trying to scare any of you all who are parents. All I'm saying is just be mindful. Know where your child is. Don't be so busy and involved in what you got going on that you're not aware of what's going on with your children. And try to have open communication. I know it's easier for some than it is for others. And we know that our children don't always tell us everything because we didn't tell our parents everything. But at least be as open as you possibly can when it comes to your children. You know what I mean? Talk to him. I used to ask my son every day how was school, whether he wanted to tell me about it or not. I tried to let him know that he could tell me anything, and hopefully he would come to me. I'm sure he didn't on all things, but also I did this thing that when I was pregnant with him, I had never been a mother. So I prayed to God to always let me have a connection with him, that if something was going on, that the Holy Spirit would let me know. And for the most part, a lot of times the Holy Spirit did. He didn't always like it, because even now, if I call him, I can instantly tell a lot of times when something's going on. And he'd be like, nothing, Mom, nothing. Or I'll be sitting here and be like, you need to call him. I remember one time he was in middle school, and at that time I worked for one of the insurance companies, health insurance, and I worked from home. And I was working, and something said, something ain't right. And at this time, he was in middle school, and he was walking to the school because it was down the street from the neighborhood we lived in. And it was like, Holy Spirit's like, you need to go check and see what's going on with him today, because school was out, so he was on his way home. So I'm driving down the street, and I get to where the crossing guard is. Yes, we still have those people, because there was 2 elementary schools and a middle school. I'm sorry, on that street it was 1 elementary school, middle school, and then the other elementary school was farther down. So I'm driving, and it's like, I looked over, and it's like, I don't know why, when I looked at this book bag that was on the ground, I just knew it was my son's book bag. So I'm looking, and I don't see him. So I'm like, hold up. Why is this stuff all the way down here close to the crossing guard, but I don't see him? So I go back to the school, and I drive in the back of school where the car pickup is, and I actually see him. Now, I'm like, you're not a car rider today because you wanted to walk. So why are you back here? And where's your stuff? I'm like, what is going on? So he has a little friend that he played with in our neighborhood down the street from us. And they used to play Yu-Gi-Oh! And whatever them things were back then. I guess they still got them. Yu-Gi-Oh!, Poo-Gi-Oh!, whatever. all the time, but she had an older brother. So at that time, my son and her were in 6th grade, because our middle school is 6th, 7th, and 8th. And I think he was in 8th. So him and his friend, well, they tried to say it wasn't him, it was the other guy, was picking on Forrest on the way home and took his book bag and stuff and slung it and threw it. So I guess Forrest got scared. I don't know. And he went back to the school. I don't know if he went back to the school and was going to wait for them to walk on the rest of the way home and then he'd come back. So I politely was like, get in the car. And when I got to them, they were where the crossing guard was. And so I politely turned, because there was a street there. I turned, parked my car, and I got out and I said, excuse me, because I don't remember the little girl's brother's name, but at that time I knew it. I'm like, did you all have a problem with my son today? Because I made him get out the car. And they were like, oh, no, man, no, man. I was like, well, is that not my son's stuff right there? Oh, yeah, it is. I was like, from what I understand, you thought it would be okay for you to take his belongings and throw them all around and pick at him. I was like, but guess what? He don't have no job, so guess who bought that? I was like, I did. And what you're going to do is you're going to go over there, you're going to get his stuff, and you're going to hand it back to him politely. So they now standing there with their mouths wide open because they can't believe I'm saying that. And I'm like, oh, you will. Or do I need to get the crossing guard to call the police? Or do I need to call the police because you all were harassing my son? So that's when the other boy's like, well, it was him. So he goes over there, he gets the book bag and everything and gives it to my son. And I was like, let me tell you something else. I don't know who you be picking with on the way home, but this one's mine. And you better not mess with him ever again, as long as y'all all go to school together. I'm sure they probably called me some names, but that was the last time I had that. And I told the brother, the one I knew, I was like, and by the way, I'll be making a visit to your mom and your grandmother this afternoon, because I know they didn't teach you to come out here and do this stuff. And he's like, but it wasn't me. Yeah, well, that's your buddy. You hanging out with him. You didn't tell him, hey, man, let's not do that. Even if you stood on the side and laughed, you were complicit in the act of whatever you was doing. I was like, come on, get in the car. So I told my son, we had no more issues after that. But I just thought, how I was sitting there working, and then all of a sudden it was like, yeah, go check on your son. Something's going on. There were a lot of times with my son that happened, because I tell you what, I had no issues out of him in elementary school. But when we got to middle school, I was like, what happened? Who is this child? It's like I sent him to middle school and I don't know who came home. But then by the time he got to high school, he was back on track. But I tell you, that 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, oh, I thought I was going to have to kill that boy. But yeah, so I don't know how I got on a whole tangent about him. Anyway, my advice is keep an eye. If you're a grandparent and you hear stuff, tell your children about the stuff you hear. If you read articles, or mention to them, like, when you're talking to them about the grandkids, do they walk home by themselves? Do they play outside by themselves, depending on their age? And even if they're teenagers and they're driving, are they driving at night? If they're working, is somebody, if it's a girl or a boy, do they make sure they get to the car safely? Just things like that, because in this day and age, we never know. And we know the internet is still a major issue. When my son was coming up, he did not have, I'm trying to think, did he have one at all? No, he didn't have a computer in his room. We had one that was in the dining room. And I had my own laptop and stuff because I was in school and stuff like that. But nope, he didn't have his own personal computer. He could do stuff on his phone. But, and I think at that time, I'm trying to think, did the school even send, I don't know if the school sent them, they might have sent one home with them. I don't remember. I don't think so. I can't remember. But, just be mindful. If they have their own computer, their own laptop, or do they have access to everything? Do you have any type of parental controls on it? Do you ever check the history of what's going on, what they're looking at, who they're talking to? Especially if you have a child that's not very social. Because see, my son was always in something. I tried to keep him in sports, activities, and things. So in the afternoon, he was always having something to do. So by the time he got home, all he wanted to do was eat, take a shower, and go to bed. Or get some homework and go to bed. So, yeah, if your child is not one that's athletic, that wants to be in sports, or they don't have clubs they're into after school, or there's something else that there's other things outside of school that they can be a part of, but if they don't have anything that they're interested in outside of the house other than being on the computer, keep an eye on that. And even if they have a phone, if you're paying the bill, then you can check the phone out. You know what I'm saying? We give our children a lot of freedom. We do. And you give them, I'll look at it like this. As my son got older, and depending on the decisions that he was making, that's how his freedom came. I hate to say it like that, but that's how he was able to get to do more things. The younger they are, the more control you should have over what's going on with them. But as they're getting older, you pull back a little bit. But it still does not mean that you just let them go ham by themselves. If we're saying that the children's prefrontal lobe, which is where a lot of our decision making and things like that happens in the front of our head, if it's not maturing for them until they're in their 20s, why would you let a 16-year-old do exactly what they want to do, come and go as they please? You wouldn't. They still need you as a parent, whether they think they do or not. So my thing is, keep an eye on your children. If they're important to you, and they should be, keep an eye on them. That's the most expensive, and I guess most... I shouldn't put a price on it. The most important thing that you have underneath the roof at your house, it should be your children. They're important. They are next generations. And I hate to say it, but the people that I counsel, most of the time, I'm going to say, and if somebody else, is in social work or counseling and things like that, you tell me your opinion on this. But for the most part, I found at least 97.9%, I would say it even higher, the people that you deal with, their issues stem from childhood. Something that happened in childhood, or a lack of not getting what they needed in childhood. Ignoring your children causes issues. Be a part of their life. Why would you have children and then not want to be a part of their life? I found it so interesting that when we had COVID and everybody had to stay home, I found it very interesting when I used to look on Facebook and the parents were talking about they were tired of the children and the spouses. Now, you married this person and you had children with them, and now none of y'all want to be in the house together. That just goes to show how much time we spend with our families, really. So take some time out. Spend some quality time with your children. Find out what's going on with them. Because you know what? The things that they remember will be those times that you just took a walk with them and listened to them versus you buying the, the tickets to go to a concert or something like that. You know what I'm saying? The things that are going to be important is what you instill in them. And they get their foundation from being in the home and living with you. And I know for some grandparents, you might be helping with the raising of children again. So you're just as important. And we're not so old-fashioned that those things still don't apply. That's what people like to say, oh, Mom, that happened back. No, we're not that old-fashioned. Children still need love and care and attention and someone to listen to them. If we come on the internet and be in chat rooms so that we can chat with each other, and we're adults, don't our children need us to be able to listen to them? Or do you want them to be in chat room and probably chatting with an adult versus another child? All right, people, let me get to doing what I need to do, and hopefully you like the little flowers blossoming. I try to put something pretty in the background when I'm just talking. And yeah, let me get off of here. I hope you guys are having a I don't know, I can't think of a T word. All the ones I'm thinking of aren't good ones. So we'll just say a terrific Tuesday. I hope things are going well. We'll probably start seeing stuff budding if it keeps up. We're in March. We should start seeing the dogwoods, which I love. They're beautiful. I love me some dogwoods, but my allergies will be cutting up. I seen pollen on the car the other day. All right, people. Y'all know how I can go on a whole tangent about nothing. All right. Talk to y'all later. Bye.